Kodak Gold is one of those infamous film stocks that's just renowned in the film photography world for a number of reasons. The first, obviously, is that underlying warmth. It just makes everything look sunny and golden. Those rich tones could even make the UK look like Southern California. The other, of course, is that classic heavy contrast and quite a nice and pleasant but strong film grain. So a film simulation with the Kodak Gold 200 name on it has a lot to live up to. Now, like I said, this is the perfect beach film simulation. You'd shove it in your camera and take it out on a sunny day. So what better way to test it out than a rainy wild camping trip in the Lake District here in the UK. Let's see how it performs. I climbed up to this vantage point in the middle of the night, which meant that I woke up to quite a lovely view to get my first shots. One thing that I did differently this trip is I actually shot a lot of this video with the Fujifilm X100VI, with the film simulation applied. I really like all of these shots so far. I think the foliage looks really great and there's that underlying red in the bracken that really pops. These shots were some of my favourite. I really like how it handled the haze and the mist, and it gives a great atmosphere.
Summit conditions are not great. Not that much visibility, kind of rainy, very windy.
These are the first shots where you can really see that the film simulation has some grain to it, which is really quite pleasing, I think.
Just a little break in the wind in this little nook on the way down. It's nice. Conditions have not been good. It's been pretty tricky to get any shots of anything so far, so we'll see what happens. I'm very wet. What you doing?
I made it down to the lake, and as the clouds started coming in, it really almost turned monochrome with this film simulation, but I still quite liked it and there was some good contrast across the frame. This shot right here really made me want to sit on the bench, which is exactly what I did before setting up for some self-portraits.
It's so peaceful. It's amazing. And there's a cormorant.
This is another favourite from the trip, and I can't believe I camped on top of that amidst all of this rain.
Got some good photos anyway, and hopefully when I get back into Kodak, we'll sit down, find myself a toilet, and then I'm going to see if I can take a boat trip around the lake.
I'm actually really impressed with some of these video shots using the simulation as well. I feel no desire to colour grade them, and they look brilliant.
I think inside is the most popular choice of seating, which means we're at the front.
I particularly liked this shot. There was something quite amusing around everyone huddled together waiting to get on the boat.
I feel like the boats gave me a great vantage point as well as some interesting foreground, and some of these images are my favourite from the trip. I feel like the conditions were really lovely. I was getting wet obviously, but the tops were just graced with a little bit of mist, which made everything look very cinematic. One thing that was instantly noticeable is that the browny red wood works really well with this film simulation.
Now, I did take some photos, but it got a little bit too rainy and I had to cut my Lake District trip a little bit short. But I wanted to test this film simulation out a little bit more, so I took to the streets with Liz to go and get some portraits of herself and myself to really see how this film simulation performs in a slightly different environment.
What up, homie?
I think these portraits turned out really great. I love the skin tones, and also the red of the Chinese lanterns really pops behind the subject, so I think it's a pretty good use case. We grabbed something to eat and I grabbed some pictures as well. I think that these turned out a little bit warm. I'm not sure how it would perform under artificial lighting, but we did get some final portraits of me, which I think look pretty great.
I found this quite an interesting experiment personally. I think the images turned out really pleasingly. I'm not sure how close they are to Kodak Gold, but if you were interested in that, well, I did actually take a film camera loaded with Kodak Gold 200 with me on the trip. And so I do have a video upcoming that will compare the two sets of images. But back to the film simulation, I did think it was pretty good. It did have that kind of pleasing, contrasty effect. It did have quite a lot of warmth, which sometimes looked a bit strange when paired with the foliage and the scenery that I was shooting, but overall it was pretty good. Is this one that I can see myself using more often? Well, over the winter time in the UK where the sun rarely comes out, maybe not. But I'm going to give it another crack next year, I reckon, when we've got some long sunny days and I can properly test it out and take it to the beach with me. What do you think? Is this a film simulation that you're going to be loading up onto your camera? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, that's it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. I've been appreciating all the support on these videos so far, and I'm releasing one every single week on a Sunday. So if you like stuff like this, please make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.